All right, let's dive into the hidden risks of AI in the workplace. Now, you've probably heard all about Microsoft Copilot, but what if I told you the biggest threat isn't the shiny new tool you're thinking about buying, but the one your team is already using in secret?
Yeah, let's just start right here, because this quote really gets to the heart of the issue. This isn't just about whether you pay for an AI tool, it's about who controls your company's most sensitive data. And that leads us to the big problem here, shadow AI. It's what happens when your employees, who are just trying to be more productive, turn to free public AI tools for help. Look, they're not trying to cause trouble, but what they're actually doing is creating this huge, invisible security risk for the entire company. To really get the difference, think of it like this. The free AI, it's like a temp you hired for the day. They can help with some stuff, but they can't access your emails or internal files, so they're pretty limited. But the paid, enterprise version, that's like a full-time assistant. It's plugged into all your data, ready to summarize meetings, draft documents. It knows the whole context. Okay, so the difference in what they can do is pretty obvious. But the real question, the one that keeps business leaders up at night, is all about security. Where is all this information going? And what's it being used for?
So, this is where companies like Microsoft come in with a concept they call enterprise data protection. Now, it's really important to get this. This isn't some product you buy off a shelf. It's more like a foundational promise for how they're going to handle your data.
And that promise covers some pretty key stuff. They say your data will be isolated, kept separate from everyone else's. It's encrypted, both when it's flying across the internet and when it's just sitting on a server. And of course, there's heavy-duty physical security. But it's that last point, that last promise, that changes absolutely everything. Your data is not used for training. Honestly, if you remember one thing from this whole explainer, make it this. This is by far the biggest difference maker.
So what does that actually mean? It means with an enterprise tool like Copilot, all that sensitive stuff you're typing in, drafts of contracts, financial plans, secret marketing strategies, it doesn't get absorbed into the main AI brain. Your data is there to serve you and only you. Period.
And here is the fundamental split. A consumer AI learns from your data. That means your confidential info could theoretically pop up in an answer for someone else, maybe even a competitor. And once it's out, it's out. An enterprise AI, on the other hand, works for you, keeping all your data safely locked inside your company's bubble.
So, problem solved. The paid version is totally safe, right? Well, not so fast. What's so interesting here is that even with this promise, enterprise AI isn't some magic security wand. It doesn't fix problems you already have. In fact, it's incredibly good at finding them.
And here's why. The tool basically inherits your existing security rules. It doesn't get some special master key. It can only see what each user can already see. And that means it can shine a huge spotlight on data problems you never even knew you had.
Let's walk through a little story. So, meet John. He's a salesperson. Ages ago, someone in IT messed up and gave him read access to the main HR folder. He's never looked in it, he has no idea he has access, it's just there.
Okay, now the company rolls out Copilot. John gets his license, and he asks a totally innocent question. Something like, tell me some information about our CEO. He's probably just looking for a public bio or something. But remember, that AI has access to everything John has access to.
And boom, the AI does its job perfectly. It scans everything John can see, finds a compensation file in that HR folder he shouldn't have access to, and reports back that the CEO just got a massive pay raise. Super awkward. The AI didn't break any rules, it just exposed a huge internal security flaw that was sitting there the whole time. And that is exactly why, before you roll out a powerful AI like this, you have to get your own data house in order. You've got to do a deep dive on who can see what, especially for those sensitive folders. And while you're at it, clean up old files, so the AI doesn't start spitting out answers based on info from 10 years ago.
Okay, so we've talked about the dangers inside your company. But what about when the AI needs to look outside? That brings us to one last little detail we need to clear up. This mysterious place some of your data gets sent. It's really not as scary as it sounds, but you need to know how it works. So when you ask Copilot something that requires fresh info from the web, it has to do a search. To do that, it takes a few keywords from what you asked and sends them to Bing. Now, let's be super clear. It does not send your whole document or your entire detailed question.
For instance, say you type in, we're looking to acquire Fabricam. What are its financials and business strategy? The AI is smart enough to know that the first part is sensitive, so it just strips it out and sends only the necessary keywords. Fabricam Financial Strategy to Bing to do the search.
Okay, let's pull all of this together. We've talked about shadow AI, data training, internal permissions, web searches, the whole shebang. So, what does it all really mean for you and your business?
Let's just run through the big takeaways. Number 1, the real danger of shadow AI is that those free tools are actively training on your confidential data. Number 2, the whole point of enterprise AI is that it isolates your data and promises not to train on it. 3, remember, a powerful AI is going to find every single crack in your internal security. And finally, number 4, that means the absolute most important thing you can do is clean up your data permissions before you let your team loose with an AI assistant. And that just leaves us with one last question to think about. You can control the tools you officially roll out, but the real challenge is figuring out what's already running unseen in the shadows of your organization.